Feel like lucid be my dreams. Said you love me, so I'm sure you know the means. It's like I'm living all inside a movie in a dream. Sequels to my life entirely up to me. Slowly suffocating, do you notice how it feels? Baby, can you hold me while I'm running through the field like...
Before the season even began, Chris Paul came out and said that this was going to be potentially his last year. And the first couple of games looked really, really bad. I could get by him, and it was really nasty. And then he basically just came out and said, it is true, it's official. This is going to be the last year of my career. I did not make a video about that, but before we get into all the drama, shout out to Chris Paul, one of the greatest point guards of all time. In my opinion, he's a top 5 point guard in NBA history. I have Magic, I have Curry, I have Jerry West, I have Oscar Robertson, and after that I have Chris Paul at number. So I am all for the Chris Paul love. I am all for the Chris Paul appreciation. I think that Chris Paul is really and truly one of them, and I thought it was going to be a really, really great story that Chris Paul was going to be able to end his career playing with the team that many people...
This could be a blessing in disguise, but I'm going to get to it after.
...have grown to know him to be, you know, a Clipper. And so I thought it was going to be a really great story. But unfortunately, the Clippers thought otherwise. News broke last night, 3 a.m. in the morning. There are a bunch of degenerates out there. 3 a.m. in the morning that the Clippers were going to part ways with Chris Paul. And I didn't want to hold my tongue. I had a lot of things that I wanted to say. I basically just got some shit off pretty easily. There's no way Chris Paul should be treated like this. His locker room presence would help some players out, and he should be celebrated in every city. If Ballmer wants to build culture, this isn't the way to treat the greatest player in franchise history.
Yeah,
and I
done.
do believe that's exactly who Chris Paul is. I think he's the greatest Clipper in franchise.
Players remember shit like this and how you do other motherfuckers. You know what I mean?
More news broke after that, so we got a little bit more clarity of why exactly Chris Paul was effectively just sent home. Weeks ago, Chris Paul requested to have a meeting with Tyronn Lue to discuss allegations of being a negative presence on the team. Lue refused to meet with him. Lawrence Frank traveled to Atlanta to deliver news of parting ways, Paul's desired final season. So this was actually very, very disturbing, because not only is it that, you know, we're now parting ways, and it's a bunch of things about Chris Paul being vocal and trying to hold management, coaches, and players accountable. That right there is effectively what's been going on, that they did not want Chris Paul to be the vocal leader, was going to hold people accountable, and they didn't like that, and so they decided to.
I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. Chris Paul was calling niggas out on their shit. I'm telling you, you could tell the Clippers. They are such a fucking losing team since they got Kawhi, since they got PG. They're such a losing fucking team because they do not have that presence and that leadership that can help them strive for more. I'm sorry. Like, it's different when Kawhi was on the Spurs where he had leadership like Tony Parker and like Tim Duncan. Kawhi is not a vocal nigga. We all know this. He's not a leader. It's different when he went to the Raptors and he's with Kyle Lowry, who was like the heart and soul and a real vocal leader with that roster. And then you had Masai, who was just on it, you know what I mean? And Nick Nurse, you know what I mean? Kawhi's not that. So when you grab that team and you put him with like Doc Rivers and shit, and you don't have no real nigga who's a really like Paul George isn't a little vocal enforcer. He's not, you know? They're bound to fucking lose.
Hey, enough is enough. Shout out to the fans out there. They also wanted to voice their opinion about Chris Paul, and they let it be known at the Hawks game.
I'm telling you, he was calling them out on their shit, and they felt away.
And
Harden's not vocal either.
Said certain things as well
Hold
about
on, my fucking headphones died. Hold on. My fucking headphones died. 2 seconds. Bro, Chris Paul, I already know. That team doesn't have a winning culture. And you could tell, like I said in the video I did I think a week ago, I said Kawhi's biggest mistake was leaving the Raptors to go to the Clippers, because they for sure would have ran it back and whooped the Lakers' ass. Nigga, the Lakers got took to 6 by fucking Jimmy with the Heat, which was a worse supporting cast than the 76ers were. Like, instead of Bam, you have Embiid. Instead of Goran Dragic, who was injured, and Bam was injured, you have fucking what's Bro's name? Ben Simmons, who before he was like fucked up and shit. And then before that, you have JJ Redick instead of like a rookie Tyler Hero. Like, they would have been much better off, gang. If he would have ran it back. Like, if Jimmy and them took them to 6, bro, that Raptors team would have fucked them up. That Raptors team still was like won 50 or 60 games the next season and almost went to the conference finals.
It happened, and effectively, despite what his original thoughts were, or at least what the original reportings were, he says that he didn't like the decision.
It just wasn't a good fit. You know, I don't like it. You know, it just didn't work out like we thought it would. You know, and like I said, I don't like it for CP. You know, but it just wasn't a good fit. You know, we understood that, and so like I said, it was an organization. They made the choice. And so moving forward, we got to see what we do. So we'll see.
You said it was an organizational decision. Were you part of that decision? Do you agree with the
Hell
decision?
yes.
And do you think this will help your team moving forward?
I'm gonna say yeah.
I don't think it necessarily helped our team. I mean, I don't think the reason why we're 5-16 because of CP's play. I just think that it wasn't a good fit for what he was looking for, and it is what it is. And so, do I want to see CP go out like this? No, I have a lot of respect for him. He's been a friend of mine over the years, and you never want to see a great go out like this. But I'm pretty sure he will find something because he's a great player.
Again,
and so
I'm telling you, he was holding them accountable.
Chris Paul's response,
Because you can tell the Clippers have a losing culture. That's why they've been losers for so fucking long. Genuinely. Like, the only time they had hope was when Chris Paul was there with Blake Griffin and those niggas just kept getting injured. Ever since then, they've had a losing culture, bro.
to all of that effectively was that, hey, bro, they basically told me to go home, and then it's gotten so nasty that Chris Paul actually got on a phone call with Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan.
They slammed Blake
he
out,
posted
too.
on his IG that they've actually reunited Lob City because of all of debacle drama. I'm going to just say this, and I'm going to be very, very vocal about it because there's a lot of things that are now going on about the whole Chris Paul situation, not only from his time with the Clippers, effectively, but also there's a lot of reports saying that it is unlikely that a team is going to sign Chris Paul once he does get cut from it. So,
Bro,
that right there is
I'm not gonna lie.
Very, very unfortunate.
I'm not gonna lie. If I'm the Thunder here, I'm re-signing Chris Paul. I don't know if they have too much niggas. If I'm them, nigga, I'll fucking trade one of these second rounds, waive one of these second rounds. I'm gonna keep it on it. I think that Chris Paul would be an amazing vocal and mentor for the young players they have in our roster, like fucking Cason Wallace, Nikola Topic, and all of them. Because listen, y'all don't remember Chris Paul? Remember Chris Paul got traded for Russell Westbrook and he went to the Thunder? And Shea till this day says that Chris Paul was instrumental in him developing into the player that he is today. I think, like I was saying earlier, I think this could be a blessing in disguise because if you're the Thunder, I pick him up here and help him. Bro, he's quite literally one of the main reasons responsible for why Shea is the player he is today. That mentorship that he had for him and he taught him shit, helped him elevate. Bro, right after that, bro, from the Clippers, he got traded from the Clippers. He was bro, as soon as he went and played under Chris Paul for that one season, after that, he just took a jump straight up. I think that it would make a lot of sense if you have these young guys like Cason Wallace, Nikola Topic. I think he's out. Didn't he have cancer? I don't know for sure. But Nikola Topic and like these other young guys who are bringing in like Sorber and all them niggas. I think he would be an amazing addition to have to help develop them niggas. I'm not gonna lie.
And it has been, unfortunately, an ongoing theme about how things are being handled. Please excuse me for the rant that I'm about to go on, but I'm just about to. You deciding that you want to part ways with Chris Paul because he effectively held people accountable for the horrible start to the season is nothing more but another example to why the Clippers will always be the biggest losers in the NBA.
That's what I'm saying, nigga.
The biggest losers in the association. This is an organization. I mean, let me, before I even go down the path, who the fuck brings Chris Paul to a team and thinks that he's not going to say something when he sees a bunch of BS? That's who Chris Paul has been his entire time. And if anything, that is a type of vocal leadership that this team clearly needs. Because
exactly,
they're not getting it from fucking Kawhi Leonard. They're not getting it from Ty Lue either. So it is fine. It is fine if Chris Paul sees bullshit and he calls it out because the entire team has been on bullshit. They've been on bullshit. And for effectively, the news should be Chris Paul saw bullshit. He called bullshit. And y'all got upset, so you sent the nigga home. Lets me know you are nothing more but fucking losers. That's all you are. That's all you are. That's what you are, bro. And for Chris Paul, the best player in franchise history, to choose to end his career on your team, on a team that he's most identified with, that is a privilege. Steve Ballmer, you do all this other shit. You spend money all this other way. But you're telling me you couldn't have the balls to spend the money to make sure that he had the right and appropriate farewell tour? The player that went to this bum-ass organization and saved them. There's a generation of people who now know who the Clippers are. Because I'm going to be honest with you, before Lob City, no one knew who the fucking Clippers were. No one. Somebody saying, show this. Hold on. Let's see what this is.
Crazy the way they did this second, bro. They did the same shit to Blake, though. Like, niggas forget.
To take that away from that man is crazy, bro. To take it away from that man who took y'all out of dormant days, before the season even began, made y'all relevant, put you on the map, gave y'all the most success consecutively throughout franchise history. And now this is not only the first, but the second player you basically shitted on and moved off to the side because Blake Griffin, the other all-time great Clipper, you did the same thing to him.
Yep.
You sat there, sat him down, jerked him off, told him about, oh, we're going to raise your jersey in the rafters and all that dumb shit just for y'all to trade him anyway. You ain't got no balls, nigga. I don't give a fuck how much money you got, Ballmer. Don't give a fuck. I don't care, bro. Ballmer just thinks that he can sit there and buy culture. You can't do it. You're cultureless, nigga. That's why you hired a cultureless ass player in Kawhi. Because every time that nigga been around culture, he ran just like everybody else does. Harden, cultureless. No, one's not respecting Kawhi. No.
Okay, there's an update video to this, so we're just gonna bring this one up right quick.
Apparently, there is some more news.
Because more details ended up coming out. I haven't seen it yet,
in
though.
Clipperland about the ongoings of why Chris Paul was eventually sent home. And I'll be honest with you, it doesn't get any better whatsoever.
Oh my
Shout
God.
out to Daniel Lee over at YouTube, amazing content creator. He puts some really good content. He highlighted for us a few segments in a game in which Chris Paul was, a bit critical of the effort that was given from Kawhi Leonard defensively.
Watch it be valid
and
shit.
There's also
I'm
other
already
reports
knowing.
claiming that this was a part of the reason why Chris Paul was departed from the organization because they got tired of his lawyering in the locker room. So shout out to Daniel Lee. Actually a really, really good content creator. But let's see what he got to say.
Against the Cavaliers, Chris Paul was not happy with Kawhi's lack of urgency on defense. As reported by Shams on Wednesday, Paul was sent home by the Clippers because his leadership style clashed with the team. He had been vocal in holding management, coaches, and players accountable, which the team felt became disruptive. And this game might show what the fuss is all about. In the fourth quarter, the Clippers were down 13 and needed a spark.
Bro, all these niggas on Clippers are just trying to get their bag, bro. I'm gonna keep
But
it
with
on
rookie
there.
Kobe Sanders matched up on Donovan Mitchell, Mitchell runs a pick and roll with Mobley, and he's able to throw it up to him. Then after a miss, Mitchell
That's
has
not too
Sanders on
bad.
him again and is easily able to step into the step back three to push the lead up to 18, leading to a Clippers timeout.
Switch.
Right out of the timeout, Paul decided to take the challenge of guarding Mitchell. Now this of course is weird, considering that Paul is too slow, especially when you have better defenders like Kawhi Leonard or Nicholas Batum on the floor. But it was a chance to try and take things into his own hands, and he does a good job fighting over this ball screen, which forces someone else to then try and make a play. Next possession.
I'm gonna be honest with
Leadership.
you. If we get breakdown of Chris Paul being the best point of attack defender on this roster,
It's a
we gonna have
problem.
some real fucking problems, dog.
That's what I'm saying,
If we
nigga.
get breakdown of Chris Paul giving more effort defensively than anybody else, I'm gonna be honest with you. We're gonna have some real problems, dog.
He does a good job holding his ground initially, but Paul tries to swipe at Mobley, and he's too slow to recover to Mitchell, who drives and throws it up to Mobley again. Now, despite that defensive mishap, Paul had been a spark on the offensive end, and this one's a classic, faking the dribble handoff to Kawhi, and then driving to the rim to cut the lead to 14.
Wow.
And here's where the fun begins. With everyone getting back on defense, Garland then tells Nance the reason is
Kill the
Garland wants the
clock.
ball to keep rolling as a stall tactic, knows how the
They
game
do this
clock
all the
continues to
time.
move, but the shot clock is still at 24 seconds. Now, Chris Paul noticed that, and you can hear him say,
Go up. Yeah.
but Kawhi Leonard just let Garland roll it all the way up to the front court.
What
and by
the
the time he picks it up,
Okay, for those of you niggas who don't watch basketball, when a team is up and they're just trying to maintain their lead, sometimes the other team's getting momentum and going on a little run. They'll do this to kill the clock so that the other team has less time to fucking. Because when you lead the ball, if the nigga doesn't touch it, the time keeps going. But as soon as they pick up the ball, as soon as they pick up the ball, like you have to force them to pick up the ball. Because if you leave it, the shot clock don't start until they touch it. So you have to go up and press them so they pick up the ball so the shot clock starts. If not, they're just going to kill the clock and maintain the lead. So for these niggas are in the NBA. For these niggas to not be picking that up is crazy
the
work.
Cavs were able to trim
Look
down
at the-
16
look at the shot
seconds
clock.
of game time. It also doesn't help that as Garland drives
How
in
much
to
time?
pick it up, the Cavs were able to trim down 16 seconds of game time.
Holy fuck.
It also doesn't help that as
Jesus.
Garland drives into the paint, he's able to kick it out to Jalen Tyson for 3 to make it a 17-point game. So from start to finish, the Cavs were able to waste over 30 seconds of game clock and also
And that was Kawhi's man that he left open.
get a bucket to extend that lead. On the next possession, after Zoo makes the free throw, Kawhi starts trotting back again until someone tells him to get up. Now the only reason he's lucky here is that after a dead ball like a free throw, the clock doesn't start until Garland actually touches it. So even though there's still a decent amount of space to let it roll, he just picks it up when he realizes the clock
clock's not
won't move.
moving.
But then just 30 seconds later, after Kawhi knocks down the 3, every Clipper runs back again, so Garland just lets the ball
gonna
roll
keep
again.
doing it, yeah.
Kawhi's slow to get up again, and as the camera pans back to the game view, Chris Paul ran all the way to the backcourt to make sure Garland picked it up, and Kawhi's not
A
even
40-year-old man, that's ridiculous. He has every right to call this shit out. This is shit like in elementary school, nigga. Like we used to like, yo, you know?
in this shot.
Like, that's
Nah,
ridiculous.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. There's no way that y'all are complaining about this man when he's the only. Chris Paul literally has 1 foot out of the league, and you're telling me he cares more on a per possession basis when he's on the floor more than Kawhi Leonard? He's able to give more effort defensively than Kawhi Leonard. He's able to go out there and try harder than
That's
Kawhi
insane.
Leonard. And this is what y'all were upset about?
Was eventually way behind the play. So, once it got to a dead ball, Chris Paul finally goes up to Kawhi and is like, hey man, you gotta get up, dude. The Cavs are wasting way too much time. And on the next possession, after Zubac makes his free throw to push it down to 11, Kawhi finally gets up to Garland so that they can't waste any clock. Then just yesterday, Chris
See what I'm
Haynes
saying?
reported that Chris Paul had
The
made a
roster needs an enforcer. You know how long he would have kept doing that? He would have kept doing that till Ty Lue called a timeout and said, yo, quiet, you need to push up. They need an on-court enforcer so they're not wasting their timeouts on bullshit like that. Yo, push up. What did Kawhi do? He went and pushed up. Kawhi's not an enforcer. I'm telling you, he's not an
suggestion about
enforcer.
switching Kawhi off of Klay Thompson in a game against the Mavericks. On this one, Klay comes off the screen, and Kawhi had a lot of trouble navigating that screen. So Paul asked Kawhi in the huddle if he preferred to switch off of him. And apparently, Jeff Van Gundy did not like that Paul had even made that suggestion. This is a microcosm of what's been going on in LA. The Clippers, despite being a veteran group, have been lacking energy and effort. Kawhi Leonard
All ego. So you feel like you know better than me? Da-da-da. You feel like you know better than me to switch him off of Klay. Klay's old, Klay's washed. We know this. But Klay coming off the screens, Kawhi's not the defender he was back when he was winning DPOI. Like, he's not even near. If he's having issue running around those screens, if Chris Paul can switch on to him, Klay's not making his shots. All you need, the only way he will make a shot is you leave him wide open, like wide open. So if he's running off the screens and Kawhi can't keep up with him, remember, Kawhi has like degenerative knees. Swap him off. This is not Kawhi when he was winning DPOIs, my nigga.
I ain't gonna lie, this is pitiful to watch. This is pitiful to watch. You're
Holy
telling me
shit.
there's like clips of Chris Paul looking at Kawhi like, bro, what the fuck?
despite being a veteran group, have been lacking energy.
Look at Chris Paul looking at him like, bro, what the fuck are you doing, dog? And what's even worse, you know what's so funny about like this NBA space? Defenders a lot of times live off of reputation. Like once you get labeled a defender, you're basically going to be viewed as a defender to the end of your time in the league.
Kawhi's not
the
that
effort that
anymore.
Kawhi provides, it's been slowly deteriorating over the years. Anyone who's watched him knows it. So when people give like Kawhi this gas of being this two-way player, y'all are not watching him because he does not play defense to the same degree that he used to for him to receive the label of a two-way player.
Yeah.
He doesn't. So even in the hypothetical of like, well, when Kawhi's healthy, he's not the same player. He's an amazing scorer.
Even with PG, when niggas first got there, they were like, yo, Kawhi, that run he just had in Toronto, PG, both two-way defenders, yo, they're about to be crazy. Bro, I feel like both their defense dropped off when as soon as they went to LA.
But there's a lot of other amazing scorers who are also just as good, if not better defensively, who are substantially better passing and playmakers. Like Kawhi just isn't that player. This is, in all honesty, part of the reason why the Clippers as an organization is so fascinating, because there isn't anybody on that team that will ever hold Kawhi Leonard responsible if Kawhi Leonard is supposed to be the quote-unquote leader of the team. And so if you're telling me from a leadership standpoint that Chris Paul is willing to give more effort defensively than you are when you're not playing games, you're on a minute restriction, you're getting paid more than everybody else on that team, and everything started with you. They first made all the decisions to build around you, and here we are now where Chris Paul
traded
is
Shea. Again, we don't know if Shea would have developed to the player he was without the mentorship of Chris Paul, but still, like, traded Shea and all these picks, like, holy
of the
fuck.
league is showing more responsibility, care, and effort defensively than you are. You should be ashamed of yourself. But again, I'm gonna be honest with you, it doesn't really surprise me. The fact of the matter is that these are the shenanigans that continue to happen. And then you have Clipper fans running around, or Kawhi fans who are holding on to 2019 and acting as if like that nigga is ever going to appear again. Y'all acting as if like 2019 Kawhi is ever going to come back. He's not. He's old. But he's there
Not only is he old, I think niggas forget he tore his ACL. Like, he's not.
to get checks, cash it, and move
He
on.
gonna score
And
his
then
buckets, but-
for Van Gundy to come up and tell Chris Paul, you're not allowed to do that. Why? Are y'all all afraid of Kawhi? Are y'all all got your tails tucked between your legs? Crazy. This is crazy.
And effort. Kawhi Leonard has not been the most engaged with the simple things, but it's not just him either. In that game
Jesus.
against Miami before Paul got canned, the Clippers had a lot of trouble grabbing defensive rebounds. On this one, after the Heat take a three, the ball's batted around, and Harden's right there to grab it, but he's too slow to the ball. And then just 2 minutes later, as Fontecchio's taking the three, Harden's just standing there, and Bam snatches the ball over him. That then gets kicked out for another three, and this was in part of a 30-2 run by the Miami Heat that ended up blowing this game wide open. So, We don't know what Paul may have said behind the scenes that may have triggered his sudden departure, but what we do know is that the Clippers are not engaged throughout the whole game, which is why they're 6-16 to start the year with no light at the end of the tunnel.
Shout out to Daniel Lee, amazing
bro.
content creator, really keen on highlighting certain aspects. That video is doing crazy numbers too, 500,000 views. Shout out to Daniel Lee for what he does. If y'all want to continue to support Daniel Lee,
Look at the Lakers.
content
What did we just say in the other video? Bring CP3 to the Lakers and help Reeves and Luka. Like these Laker fans are like different, bro. Even we're gonna get Giannis, like, bro.
Produces.
These
He
niggas
does a really
like,
good job at eyeing a lot of things. I saw the D'Lo one. I saw the Bronny mistake one as well. I'm a fan of Daniel Lee, but overall though, pretty disturbing things out in Clipperland from an organization that for whatever reason seems as if like they just don't want to hold certain people accountable, and it's crazy that it's the ones that are getting paid the most money. It's even more damning that I see a lot of people who are trying to like be anti Chris Paul, trying to sit there and claim that Chris Paul doesn't have no angle in this fight
Bro.
to sit there and say anything. When
no matter what, you're gonna have niggas who just say stupid shit like this. I'll never forget the Luka trade. Niggas were like, yo, I can see the Mavs vision. The Mavs vision, yo, da 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 da. Like, shut the fuck up, bro.
the reality is, if those are the things that he's highlighting, if those are the things that he's
They just
asking
wanna
Chris
be
Paul,
different
like, hey,
so bad.
I mean, Kawhi, hey, if you need help, say something. I can go out there, I'll give better effort than that, and then you just pick him up at the half-court line, but communicate at bare minimum, but just don't show no effort at all. And the fact that he's not showing little to no effort, not only is not a surprise to me, because even I've watched Kawhi over the past year or two, and again, he's just not the same defender that he was before. I didn't know it was this bad. I know some of the moments have been really, really bad, but I didn't know it was this bad. But it is amazing to me how off a lot of people are when it comes to the whole Chris Paul situation. But showing these examples, it's even crazier. And how y'all are claiming that someone may be barking at people in the locker room after this abysmal start effectively just
crazy.
makes y'all uncomfortable, and you all don't want to deal with it. It's really, really, really crazy that has come full circle, that we're now getting irrefutable evidence of what Chris
Thing is too is I know Steve Ballmer for a fact. You have to understand, a lot of you gonna give. I see one clip that like Tyronn Lue said fuck CP3, bro. I don't think I understand, for Steve Ballmer to get rid of CP3 in this situation and send him home, it wasn't just Tyronn Lue's word. Like, I want you to know that. It was probably the assistant coach and other players. Soft. These niggas are
Chris
soft.
Paul is pointing out to how he's highlighting certain things and how they just don't want to be held accountable out in LA. They just want to show up, get their paycheck,
Yep.
move on, and if Ballmer want to give them an extension, sure, why not? I'll take the extension. I'll take the extension. And quite frankly, here's the other thing. Because Chris Paul knows that he's out of the league, that he's not going to be, he's done. Like his time in the NBA is done. Because Chris Paul knows that, he's the only one on that team that will say anything, because everyone else trying to land another check. Everyone else trying to find their way back in the league. Everyone else is just trying to figure out what they can before they end their careers, and that's a lot of people on that roster. A lot of people on that roster. I'm trying to last as long as I can, and CP is fucking it up for me. Chris Paul out there running his mouth, and I'm trying to focus on just trying to milk it as much as I can. And that really and truly is the reality of what it looks like. Pause. Okay.
Holy shit. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. My fault. Bro, if I'm the Thunder, I for sure go out and sign CP3. He was crucial in Shea developing. Bro, I think you put him as just a leadership role, because again, I know the Thunder just won, granted. I feel like they went into a season where they like had moments where they almost collapsed, like against the Nuggets and against the Pacers. Some niggas think if Tyrese Halliburton never got injured, the Pacers probably win. I feel like having that veteran leadership like a Chris Paul to be like, not like get them through it will help a lot. Not only that, I do think like he was so instrumental in developing Shea that I feel like having him there to help develop Cason Wallace and like Nikola Topic and I think Thomas and all the other young niggas they have, I think it would work wonders for them. So, yeah. It could be a blessing in disguise. We just have to wait and see, though.
Something, baby, I like just how you blushing. And maybe we could bust it at the function. Turn nothing to something. Wish you could just see the horrors of my life, my upbringing.